Hello friends and everyone, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about one of the architectural patterns in .NET, which is event sourcing. Have you ever heard of it before? Do you know what is it? Well, event sourcing is an architectural pattern where every change to an application state is stored as a sequence of events instead of just updating a database record. Now think of it as you performing CRUD operations in the traditional way. When you create products, or why do I say product? When you create data, data state is there, right? When you update it, part of the data has been changed, isn't it? When you delete it, the data is gone. Do you have history? If you want to go back and look at what you did, can you say no? So in the traditional approach, when you're performing CRUD operations, your state is gone as soon as you delete it. And now the state keeps changing. The state keeps modifying. But with event sourcing, instead of you modifying the state, no, you then keep the state there and now recreate another state. When you do that, you can have a full history tracking. You can look at what you did and then what you have been doing up to the current stage that you are. Now, what is the benefit of you implementing event sourcing? Well, you can have a history. The other part here is it is auditability. If you want to audit it, you can check from the initial stage up to your current stage. Think of it as you having a bank account. Now, when you create a bank account, a state has been created. Within some years, you're going to be having transactions, isn't it? Now, each transaction is going to be kept. No state is going to be modified. Now, anytime that you want to get a history, you can get from the very first day that you create an account with the various transactions that you have performed. You see the benefit of you implementing event sourcing, but there's a problem here. Maybe you might be thinking of, okay, let's say I created this account like 10 years ago, and I have been operating this account for about 10 years. Anytime that I need a current state of my data, of my account, does the system need to go back to the first day account was created and now compute and get me the current state? Well, that is where we have projections. Now, projection stores your current state in a database table. So anytime that you want to get it, it goes to the current state table and I'll grab it for you. I believe by now, it sounds complicated in your eyes, right? Okay, don't worry. We're going to practice this so you can get the reality of this. Event sourcing is quite good and it is used in most projects, especially banks and a system whereby you want to keep track of every event and keep history as well. So let me share my screen and let's have a project created so we can have a look on how we can implement event sourcing. Now we're going to be using an example here as to do. Let's say to do, we're going to perform create, read, update, and delete. And by the end, you're going to have the concept of what event sourcing is. And you'll be ready to implement that in your project. So let's hop into the screen. Let me share it and now let's get this going. But before we do that, if you know you haven't subscribed to this channel, then there is a time for you to do it. And also, if you are happy of watching this video and want me to continue coming out with more content like this, then give me a thumbs up to this video. All right, let's hop into the screen and now let's see what event sourcing practicality is. So I believe you can see the screen now. I have a project created, web API, of course. And here I'm having the name as demo event sourcing. And in that, I haven't done anything to it. It is the default as you create. Now we're going to be using to do as I specified earlier on. So let's go in and create our model. But before we do that, we need to install a package. Now there are a lot of libraries which support event sourcing. And one that I love most is the Marten. So Marten works or was built on top of Postgres SQL, which is actually free. So that is the reason why I love Martin most. And at the end of this watching this video, I believe you're also going to love Martin as I do. Yes. Let's see how we can do it. But first of all, let's get these packages installed first. So these are the packages that we need. We need Marten. We need Postgres SQL. Since Marten uses SQL Postgres, we need to install that. And now when you look at this, I'm installing this Swash backup for an API interactivity. Now with this, it's a choice. I decided not to use Scalar as I've been doing in .NET 9 project. This time around, I want to change it a little bit. So I'm using going back to Swash backup. Okay, so I get this installed. Let's go and register the services for Marten and also the Swash backup. So before you register our Marten connection, we need to a Marten service, sorry, we need to create our connection string to our Postgres. But we after we have done this, we need to install Postgres Server SQL, and we need to install the Management Studio. So maybe I have done that already, but I can show you how to do that. Let me just open my browser over here, and I'll just type in download Postgres SQL. So that is this link. You can just click on that and I'll download the Postgres SQL. After you are done installing this, you can choose from the Windows, since I'm using Windows, but if you want to choose any, you can have it based on your operating system. So you get to install this SQL, and you need to install the management system to interact with the SQL, PostgreSQL database. So after you are done installing this, I think the wizard will lead you to where you can install it. Or you can also go and I'll leave this link over there in the video description so you can check it out. You can also download PG admin community version, and I think that is this one. So I'll also leave this link in the video description so you can also grab it from there. So just come to download and PG admin, and I'll download this this is the PG admin for Postgres administration. So you can use this to administer the database and download the Windows or any over here. I also make this link available in the video description. Once you have this, as soon as you're done, you're going to have PG admin. I have mine already open. Let me just show you. So that is mine, and you can see I have even some databases in here. So that is the PG admin. As soon as you're going to have your Postgres SQL over here. If you're having difficulties in connecting this together or running this, you can let me know for assistance. Okay, so now let's assume that you are done all 10 sets up to this level. Now we're going to create a connection string in our solution. Go to app settings, and in here, let's create a connection string. So that is my connection string. Now, when you're installing the database, you need to specify your username and password. The port is already configured, 5432. If you want to change it, I think you can also do it from the wizard. Now, when you're done, you can specify this part here to form your connection string. Now that I have this, let's go to program, and I continue with the service registration. So now we have our service registered. We need to specify the connection. We want to use system.test.json for our serialization. We can use, I think, Newtonsoft. Yes, you see, we can use Newtonsoft or you can use system. This is a default one, so we want to use it. You can decide to choose to use this one. Okay, let's maintain the default system's own. And then we are having this auto create schema. We want to auto create it for us so we can automatically apply changes to the database. Okay, so we will come back again after we are done creating our event. But let's go and create our model first. So in the solution, I have created a folder. Oh, I didn't. Let's create a folder, and that is where we're going to create our model. So let's have, I told you that we are using to do model for this. So let's have our, this is to do. And that is the simplest model that you can use for project, for demo project. Okay, so in that, you're going to have ID. Let's specify the properties. So these are the properties that we need under to-do model. We want to have an ID so we can have a unique to-do or unique task. We're going to have under each task, we want to say that is it completed? That is a Boolean. Default is false. And now is it deleted? We want to set to false. Since you want to get history, we don't want to do hard delete. That is why we clear the data off. We want to do soft delete. So as soon as it's deleted, it's set to true, meaning it is deleted. But when you go to history, you can get it. I believe you are getting the concept now. Yes, this is quite simple. So understand this and let's move on. So now that we have this set, let's go and create our event, which will be raised as command. So these are the events that we need. We're going to create to do. And now in creating of to do, we want to have a task name. We want to have this is completed and now is deleted. We set them to default, that is false for each one. So what we're going to provide here, it is the task name and now the ID. We come back to the update. We need only the name, the ID, and also we need the task name because this cannot be updated. Now, if you want to update this, that is where we have completed. So here, I want to set this complete to true, and I will get the ID of the task. And now for delete, you want to set is deleted equal to true, and I will get the ID of the task. So these are the events that we need to add. I think we need this. We have a CRUD, yes, update, completed, and now we have delete. Now maybe you are talking about get, that is for read. We're going to get into it, so don't worry. Let's have this. So now that we have this event created, we can go ahead and I think we have all here, right? We can go ahead and create our DTOs. Now this DTO is what we're going to be using to transfer data from the controller to this event. Now the reason why I'm creating DTO is we are not, especially let's say ID, we are not allowing the user to provide an ID. So we want to do it ourselves. We want the system to generate an ID. So we need to create a DTO, and that DTO will just hold the necessary properties that the user needs to provide values to. So let's have that also created here. So you can see from here, although we are having this update and for delete and complete, I think they all carry the same to do. When you check from, they carry the same properties as you can see from the event. So normally what I do is I can go in there and I'll use the same thing or use this. You know, in our DTO, we did not specify this because here, user does not need to specify this. The system will provide this by. So all the user need to do is to provide the ID, and that is all. So that's the reason why when we check the DTO, I am having only the ID for that and also only the ID for this complete. Okay, so let's move it to different file. Okay, so now that I have these DTOs, this is what I'm going to do. Let's implement that in the controller. So we have a default controller over here, and I'm going to rename this. Then let's have our CRUD operations here. So when you look at our create endpoint, this is what we're doing. We see we created a DTO, which takes in only a property of tax name. We create a section from our interface of iDocument store that we injected, provided by the Marten package. In that we create a section out of it. Then we want to specify, or we need to specify an ID for this to do. You know, we are not adding migration so that database can seed this for us by automatically generating an ID for us. Now we need to do it manually. So we create a guild for the to-do ID. So that means each to-do that we're going to create, you're going to have a different or separate ID. Great. Then in that, we want to create an event because you know that there's an event that you created. So with this event, we need to fill the values here to the properties. So we have an ID, then we have the tax name. If I hover this to see, it has completed and now deleted. By both have default values, so we need not to override them. Then we want to have create an event for this. Now you see we are having stream. Stream is a sequence, a list of events. So here we are creating. So we're going to first create it. Then when you create it again, it's going to add it. So in that stream, you can have a list of events. Okay, then we need to specify an ID and also to do created. Now, most developers, anytime that they are working with to do, they want to create or add date and time. But you know, Marten has done it for us, and I'll show you how you can retrieve the version and even the date the event was created. I'll show you how to do that soon. Then you want to save changes, and then you want to return the ID of this. Okay. Now that we have this event created, before we run this to test this out, let's go to our program.cs file and I register all the events that we have created in here. So these are the events that we have created and thereof we have added them here. Now let's go and run it and check this out. So we run this and remember that the database name that we use is demo event. Now let me open my PG admin. Let's check from the databases. Currently, we have two databases. I have one demo over here as event sourcing DB. And then the next one is going to come in, which is the one that we are currently working on, demo event. So let's see. Let me refresh this. Okay, it hasn't come yet. So our endpoint is active, but we are not running in Swagger. So let's go and do that from the properties. So we have it activated. Now let's go and put breakpoints and debug it. So here, let's put a breakpoint. Let's go back and provide value for this. So tax name. So let's say this is what should we even do? Let's say this is the tax. Okay, so we are going to record YouTube video, you and I. Now this is our tax name. That's what we are about to do. Now let's execute this. Breakpoint is hit. So we're going to create a session. We create our ID for that. Then we want to create our stream, and I'll start adding the event that has been exposed to. Let's wait. It is done. Now we're going to save change. Then you want to return the ID if it works. Okay, so you're saying that demo event does not exist. Yeah, so database was able to be created. Let's go and find it out. So from here, let's refresh this. We still don't have that. Let's set from our program. This is our connection string. Let's make sure we do have proper connection default. We go to line settings, not the line settings, app settings. That's a default. We have our host and port. Let's check those. Host is local host. We have our port R5431. This is our database, and that is this one. Okay, so maybe we can go, and since we are not performing migration, database cannot be created for us. That means we need to go and create our own database. So from the Postgres, I can create database from here, then give it name, demo event. The owner is Postgres, and that is all. So let's close this. Database is created. Now let's go and do this again. So from this, okay, we need to complete the process. Okay, now let's execute this again. Yes, and now it is done. So this is our to-do created. We have the ID over here. There's a tax name. Is it completed? Is false. Is deleted? That is false. If I click on continue, then you see that you're going to have the ID here. Now, where from this event, where can we find this event? Now, in a traditional CRUD, we're supposed to have a database table, and now you're going to have this in various columns, isn't it? Well, in the event sourcing, we're going to see that. Let's see how we're going to see the output. So from our demo, we can look up for our, okay, let me refresh this before. Then let's check for our schemas. Then we have our public. And let me close all this. Okay. Then from here, we can check from our tables. So check from this. Now we see from here we're having events, we're having streams. Now with the streams, let's right click on this. Let's do an edit all rows. We're going to have our streaming there. Let's right click on events. Let's go to view and our all rows, and let's check it out from here. Now we see from the streams, we are having to do, the type here is to do, right? That is an ID of it. And then we having timestamp. So for that, now when you come here, because we have created at, so this is the time zone, we have this created at. Now aside from that, when you check from your event itself, there's an ID that it got created. That is a stream ID of it. And then when you check from here, there's a data. So that is an ID for this, which is an AB, that is an 8B, right? So it means it is using this stream ID, 8B. So there's an ID for the database at the column. Then we have in this ID, that's a stream ID for this record. And that's what we see with the record. We have it as an ID, there's a tax name, and then we have, is it deleted? It's false. Is it completed? It also false. The type here, it is to do created. So that means we have our tax over here. Now we can go and add another one. So we're going to create record YouTube videos. After that, we're going to edit it. So this is our task. Let's say we have this a second task. Now we can remove this breakpoint, and then we can go ahead and check our database, run this, and you can see we have a different one with a different ID. So there's an ID. Now that means we can create our event, and each event has deleted, sub-delete, and now completed properties. And that is the same to do created. Okay, now let's go and work with the next one, where is going to be an update. So let's go and update this. So when you cross-check with our updates, we having this add tool, which takes in the ID of the tax and also the name that you want to change. And then from here, we're also going to create our session. And then in here, we want to populate our event, which takes in an ID, the tax name, and also it takes in another property, which has a default value that is, let's see, so pick definition. Okay, so for update, it doesn't take in any extra property here. It has in the ID and also the tax name. Okay, so in this case, you can decide to use one task or one DTO. Let's say, yeah, for this, so instead of using this DTO, we can use this event here. But well, if you want to structure your system, you must have your DTOs and your events separately, so that you can know how to handle them. Then we are going to append it. So we see from the start, we started this, so we're not going to start anymore. The stream has been created. So all that we're going to be doing here is to append to the stream. The stream that we have in here, we take in the ID of this, and then we want to pass on the event, which is to do updated, and then we're going to save the change and return the event which has been created. Okay, so let's rerun this and let's also check this out. Now this is ready. Now in order for us to update this, we will need an ID for this. So let's go to our PG admin, and then let's grab the ID of this. We want to update the second one. Afterwards, edit video. So let's update this. So grab the ID, and in here, let's paste the ID here, and then let's write it well. I think we did mistake. So now we have afterward, then edit the video properly. Then from here, we now go and execute this. Now we wait to see the response here as being successful. Let's wait and see. Okay, so you see that here we still have an ID and the task. Let's go and check our PG admin. Now, if I run this again, we're going to have the next event. Now, this event is coming from, when you check this, it is coming from to do updated. So two events are coming from created, and one event is coming from what updated. But when you check the event data itself, it is having the same ID, meaning the second one, we have updated that. Now, when you check the data, it's taking in the task name as well. Afterward, edit the video properly. Meaning when we are computing this, it's going to replace, this is going to be the current state of this task name. And now since we do not have the current state for the is deleted and is completed, it goes to the next one and now grab this as the current one and add it to this. And now with all these, Marten is going to compute it nicely for us. Great, so now that we have this, you can also update this again to another one and that you want to update to. Okay, so now that update is working, we're able to create an event over there. Let's go and work with completed. So if I click on, if I want to assign this as completed, how can I do it? Let's go to the endpoint and also work on that. So when I look at for our complete, all that you're going to be doing here is to change the value of false true from the property of is completed. So the specific to do task that you want to change the property, we want to get it from here. So you can see from this, we get the ID. And here we want to append it to an event. Since we have started already, we can also go and append it. And then we specify the ID with the event that we want to raise. And now we pass it on here. We save changes and that is all. So let's try this also and check it out. So from our PG admin, if I open that and run the query again, we want to change this. Let's grab the ID for the first one. We're going to record YouTube video. So let's say that is done. That is an ID. So let's grab this ID. And I can see that from here, it's completed is set to false. So let's go to completed. And then we want to specify the ID. We pass on the ID. And then let's click on execute. Let's wait to see. If it works, we must also have the return of the ID. And yes, we have it. So it's completed, it's set to true. And then let's go to our PG admin. We're going to refresh that. Now that is the one that I'm talking about, the 8B for the ID. Run this again. And then we're having the same 8B and check this. We have the ID over here and it's completed, it's set to true. So you can see that initially when we created that, its computer was set to false and now it's set to true, right? Okay, we can also do the same to this one. All that you should do is to grab this, the ID, and then let's paste the ID and execute it. And when we go and check it out, we must see same as we did. So for this, check here, C6, C6. So we created that, we updated that, and then we have also completed that. So it completed, it's set true. Okay, now we have one left. That is a delete for our command to be exhausted. Let's work on the delete. You know, we are implementing soft delete. So we are not going to clear this table or this records out. We want to create another event, and then we want to set is deleted it as for true. We're going to be using that in querying the table to retrieve this or computing this event to get the current state. Let's do that. So when you look at the trend, you can see that they are following the same pattern. The first event is what you're going to be creating as stream. The rest is append, append, append. Since stream has been created, the subsequent ones you're going to append to the stream. So we are done with the delete. We're also going to run this and now check this out. So we know that before we can delete, we must have the ID. So let's say we are done with the first one, that's the 8B. So this we are saying is completed, is set to true, and then we want to delete it as soon as we are done with the completion. We can cancel this, go back, and then specify the ID here. Let's make this call. And as you can see from here, it's deleted, is set to true. Let's go and do same for the other one too. Now you can see from, if I run this, we're going to have the seat one, and in that we have the same 8B as an ID, and then it's deleted, is set to true, right? Then let's do for this, afterwards edit the video properly. Let's also complete, or let's also delete this. And this also done. When you check it again from the query, you're going to have the seventh one, and you have an ID of C6, and it has the is deleted property set to true with this ID. Okay, so now as you can see, when we query a table, we must not find any record because deleted is set to true. It means they are off, but we can read history, isn't it? So we are done with these commands. Now, what of the queries, the readings? How do we get by ID? How do we get all? That is where there's a key term known as aggregation. So aggregation is similar to computation. It's going to compute this. You see from here, we created one from the first spot, we updated it, we completed that, and we deleted that. So it's going to take from the very first event that happened and then build it, compute it upon each and every event which was raised accordingly until it gets to the current one. That is what we know as the aggregation. Now let's go and aggregate this and see the response or the current state of this task. So in that, we need to build an endpoint. Now here I'm going to show you two ways out. The first one is without projection, and the second one would be after the projection. Projection is where we store the current state on a database table. So instead of you computing, aggregating from the very first event to the last event, you should rather go to the table and grab it over there, making it quick to access response. Okay, so but with this, we haven't added a projection. So let's see how we can handle that without projection. But the best approach is to use projections. I'm going to also show you after we are done with this. So let's have our first get endpoint for the ID. And we're also going to talk about getting the history. So I think we should get history first so that we can see the version and the data itself and at the timestamp. That is the date and time that event was raised or created. So when you look at what we're doing over here, you can see you want to get a session and you want to fetch. So this is like the traditional way of using first or default. You want to find the stream, the event by ID. Remember that each task has its own ID, which is keyword. You want to get it. Now when we get it, default Marten add version, add sequence, stream ID, and a timestamp to it. So we want to retrieve those and return to the user so you can see the version, the current version of it. How many events have you called on that? Then also the data itself and the rest, the timestamp, date and time created. Now let's run this and check this out. So we're going to be calling the first one. So let's open our and grab the first tax. We need an ID. So grab the ID from here. Once this is open, we go to the history. Then try this out, specifying the ID of it. Oh, is that the ID? I did not copy that. Okay, now execute this. Let's see the history of this. Although the item or the tax is deleted currently, but you want to see if it's there. Now we are having, I think, check it up from here. This is the version 1. This is the sequence is 1. So we have the first version. That is the data. So initially created was the version 1. The ID is over here. We have the task is deleted. Then we have the sequence. We have the stream ID. The stream ID is the same as the ID over here. So when you check the ID and the stream ID, it is the same. Now check the timestamp. So this is the date and time this event was raised. Then the second version here, we have it. This is the data. It was reset completed to true. This is an ID. We have this the sequence is 4. And then when you look at the third one, this is version 3. We have the ID, and in that the deleted was set to true. Sequence is 6, and now we have the stream ID, which is the same as the ID. And this is the date and time this was created. So you can see we can read history from what was done and the time or the date and time it was done. We can read from that. Now is the time for us to compute this, aggregate this, and now get the current state. So from here, we can actually get the current state manually. Now we set the deleted to true, so it means it's deleted. And then from here, we set completed to true, so it means completed was set to true, and now after that, deleted. And then we have our tax. The tax was not modified. We have this, we are going to record YouTube video, and that's the same tax. So you see, we have the same tax over here, but delete and complete was set to true, and that is it. Okay, now how do we get this into a table form, or let's say a record that we can retrieve and process it afterwards? Let's see how we can do that. Let's close this. Then let's go and get the current state. Let's create our endpoint to aggregate it. So this is the endpoint that we need to create so we can get the current state of our to-do. What are we doing here? We creating a session, and I believe you know that by now. And in here, we want to aggregate this. So we want to compute from the very first event raised with the same ID to the current or the last one. And in here, we need to create a class known as the to-do aggregate. And we want to specify the ID. Since the ID is what we need to grab a specific stream, we want to pass in the ID here. And then here we are saying that if state is not equal to null, meaning state has been captured, and if delete is not equal to false, meaning we want to get that, else return tax not found. Although tax might be there, but deleted is set to true, meaning the tax is not visible, and in that you want to return not found. But in case delete is set to false, then we want to return that. Now let's go ahead and create this aggregate. So let's copy this and let's create a folder known as aggregate. So in that, we go to our to-do, And then during the aggregation, we need to grab the properties that we need from here, from our to do. And then let's go to the aggregate and have it here. We can go ahead and use this model straightforward here, but well, I prefer we grabbing these properties instead to have and place them here. Now we need not to have a default values because all these are going to be set as soon as we run this. So let's get this off. Now the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to start from the event, the very first event to the last one. So we're having this event of to do created. That is the first stage to do was created. So let's have that set. So we are having all this, but maybe you are saying that, hey, if I set this to do created, if I pick definition here, we have is completed and is deleted. These properties have default values, so we need not to set them here. As far as we have this injected, well, we can have them also set. So we need to grab this first 3. Now that's for creating. So after we are done creating, what's the next one? We can go and complete it or update it. Well, we can call them. So let's also have here. So when you look at this, these are the 4 commands that we created. We have the to do created, which is going to create it. Then we have the deleted. Now in here we have the ID already. So we need not to. No, we have this ID here. So we're going to provide this event when it's raised. We're going to provide the ID to that. Then we have the tax name. From the tax name, that is for the update. We're only updating the tax name. So we need not to specify the ID because we are not updating the ID. We are updating only the tax name. And now when it comes to the completed, we're also updating only the completed property here. And that is what we need to pass this on. Okay. Now from the delete, I think from here, we need not to use this. It's supposed to be is deleted. We need to use is deleted. So event dot is deleted. Yes, of course, because we have the ID already. So we're not going to modify the ID. We're going to modify these properties. So we need to set these properties here and leave the ID. Now for the create, since we're going to create it, that is why we need to add the ID over here. Okay. So now that we have this, we are good. We can go ahead to our controller. And then here we're going to add this using demo event source and the aggregation. And now when we run this, let's see what's going to happen. We're going to put a breakpoint. Let's put breakpoint to the aggregate. From this method, they're going to get called from the event. Now you can see from here, we have to do created, deleted, updated, and completed. When we get a stream and it has all these events, you can find this event from here. So you can created, updated, completed, and deleted. So as soon as created is fired, it means you're going to call this created. I believe you're getting that. Great. Now let's run this and check this out. Let's get a current state. So current state should be not found. That is what I'm saying. What are you still saying? The current state of this should be not found. Even the 2 tax IDs that we have created, and we pass each in it, we must get not found because at the end, delete is set to true. Now from this, let's grab the first one. And now from the current state, let's pass it on. Execute. This is it. Now let's wait for it. When we check the state, we're going to have state in, but from the last statement, yes, that's where it's going to skip that. Check the state here. We haven't about, see, the current state here is set to is completed is true, is deleted is true. This is a task name. We are going to record video. And now when you come here, we are saying that if it state deleted is true, then do not show. So if I click on continue, check it up, we have task not found because the state is deleted is set to true. Now let's go and grab the next one. But when you check history, I believe we've done that already. When you check history, you're going to see all these in there. History, you're going to have access to the history here, but the current state is not found because it has been deleted. When you check the next one too, that is a C6, you can grab the ID from here. Now it's deleted, it's set to true. So what of, let's say, it's saying this is false. Okay, now in order for us to do this, to go back or reverse it, this is the current version, and here we see, so it's completed, and now this 6, there's the 8B from the 7th one. Let's stop this 7th one, we can delete this. Okay, so when it says from the C6, it is not deleted, right? Now if I call this again, it has to cease, and then we don't have the C6 as true. Now if I execute this current state, now check it out, breakpoint is hit, and let's continue on. Okay, then we are having task not found. Okay, I think we did not change the state, the ID. Let's grab the ID of this, that is the ID here, and now pass on the ID, continue on. And I can see now we are having the current state. So it's completed is set to true, but it's later is set to false. And that is the current state. So when you check the task name afterwards, edit the video properly. When you check the history, we are having more than this. Check from the history. Check here. We are having this from the updates. We said that, hey, afterwards, edit the video. And now we updated the task name as afterwards, edit the video properly. As you can see from that, we haven't that displayed as a current state, not the previous one. Although we can read history here. Okay. Now with this, anytime that you want to get the current state, unless it computes all the history. So that's what I made a scenario that, think of it as you having one bank account as an account holder. You created this account 10 years ago. You have many transactions in there. And anytime that I want to get a current state, it needs to go back to the first day that you created an account, and I'll start computing, aggregating from that end to the current state. It's tedious, right? And it's not good enough. So we can use projection to handle that. So projection is it computes your state, and I'll get a current state, and I'll keep it in database table for you. So anytime that you want to get a current state, it is not needed to go and recompute it again. Rather, go to the table and I'll grab it for you. As soon as an event is raised, computation happens and the state has been captured already. That's amazing. That's good of using this Marten library. So let's see how we can work with that too, and that will bring us to the end of this lesson. So we are almost there, okay? All right. So in here, we need to create a class to handle that. Let me add new folder as projections. Let's stop this. All right, so we have these events, these commands over here for create, update, completed, and now delete. And as we did in the aggregation, the same thing that we're doing here. But instead of having the properties over here to set up, no, we want to get it from this to do aggregate, which is what we have in here. So we do this, and I'm just going to project this into a database known as to do. And anytime that objects or an event is raised, to just compute the state and I'll keep it in the table for us. So the next time that I want to call for this, it doesn't need to recompute it or re-aggregate it for you, but rather go to the table and I'll grab it peacefully. Now that we have this, we need to go and register this in the program. So go to program.cs and here let's register this projection here. So this single line of code is going to do it for us. We could see we want to restart do projection, and then you want to use the life cycle of inline, meaning as soon as event is raised, you want to also get this calculated. That is all that we're doing over here. I think we can update it, use a collection, and great. Okay. So now let's see if I go to the table. Now here, let me open it wide, and I'll check from the table. You see we are not having any to do table. Let me just refresh this. We are not having any to do table over here. We have the event, the stream, and the rest, right? Now, as soon as we are done running this, we're going to have a table known as to do, and that is where it's going to keep the state after the projection. So check it out. So the app is running now. Now let's go and see whether we have table, refresh this, and we are not having any to do. Okay, let's go and create a new one. So after we are done recording the video, I'm going to upload the video to YouTube. Then that is the next task. So I'm going to execute this. So here the states will be calculated or aggregated and then save the state for me. Let's wait to see. And that is done. So let's go and check from the table. Now with this, from the table, let's go and refresh this. And we should see, because the table has increased to 5. We have, where is it? We have to do aggregate. You see that? Now with this to do aggregate, right click on this, go to view, edit all rows, and now check it out. So you can see that here we are having a record. There's an ID of this, and that is that we have the ID over here. This is the data itself. We have the task name. I'll put the video to YouTube is deleted, is set to false. Now its computer is set to true. Now let's go and update this. So we're going to update this. Let's grab the ID. Or even let's go and modify that first. So for this, we're going to update before we complete it. There's an ID. And we say that upload the video to my YouTube channel, and then that is an update. So we execute that. So from this, let's go and see whether the state has been captured and it has been aggregated for us. Projected here, check it out. Now you can see it has been updated, right? So anytime that you want to, you go for get the state. Let's see, get state. You pass in the ID. Now let's see, we see it is going and grab the database table. Now, a proof for you to know that this is getting from the database table, a projection table. Let's go to this, and in our table here, you know, when you check the event or the streams, let's check there's the event. If I run this again, we haven't, I think, 2 more events attached. Now check the current state. The current state here is what upload the video to my YouTube channel. All right, we know that. Now let's go back to this, and then in here, let's edit this. Upload the video to my Netcode-Hub YouTube channel. Okay, now let's save this. If I run this again, now we have upload the video to my YouTube channel, right? Now I need to check the event. Run this. The event is still the same because no event was raised. We edited that from here. We still have the upload the video to my YouTube channel. Let's go with the ID that we have. When we check the history, let's see. Get the history from this. And I want to check it. The last part is upload the video to my YouTube channel. So you see that the table is not, this is not affected, but the table is affected. And now let's go and get a current state and see whether it is getting from the table. If it is getting from the table, meaning what it is saying, the projection is working perfectly. But if not, meaning there's something wrong. So that is an ID. Execute this, and now check it out. So here we having this uploaded video to my YouTube channel. Now I can see that we are not getting that, you see, meaning that after the projection, how you make the query here should be different from the normal stuff, okay, after or without the projection. So let's go and update that. So from our demo, we go to our controller, and now in here, I'm going to duplicate this and comment this. And now from here, we can use a session. Instead of using this lightweight session, let's get query session instead. So we can say that let's get this off and say await using var session equal to, we have the store already. So let's use this query session. And now from this query session, let's remove all this. We want to get to do. So we say that this session dot query. Now with this query, it is to do aggregate. Now with this aggregate, we can get let's see whether we can have access to first or default. So can we have access to aggregate dot first or default? And now with this first or default, we can say where to do, we negate this. So we negate this, then we are saying dot is deleted. So we want to grab all which have the property deleted as what? False. And then, so maybe before we do this, I think we can grab this dot ID equal to the ID coming in, and then we can have this. So you want to retrieve only one, so that's the reason why we are doing this. If you want to retrieve all, we can use .toList to grab all. Now that we have this, we can return okay, and I'll pass it on this to do. Now let's run this and see what that is going to give us, the record from the table, or it's going to give us the old one. Okay, so let's go and grab the ID. I think we even have the ID already, isn't it? So get the current state. Now let's paste no. We need to go and grab the ID again. So this is the ID. Let's grab this. And now we are not going to see this. We don't want to see upload the video to my YouTube channel. We rather want to see upload the video to my Netcode-Hub YouTube channel. Right, there is the projected one, the database. I'm going to paste this here, execute this, and now let's check this out. Oh, okay, and you can see that we then have it. That means the projection is active. So mainly, if you want to use projection, you must watch how you use the code well. So here from before projection, you can use this, but after you've done the projection, you should use the query section so you can get it from the current state which has been stored in the database after the projection. And that is it, guys. I believe this video has enabled us to see the usefulness of event sourcing as an architectural pattern. Yes, and I do encourage you to use it in your project to keep history, make it editable and scalable as well. All right, so I'll leave the video source code. Is it the video or the project? I'll leave the project source code in the video description, so you can just go in there and grab it and also review it. When you have any issue, let me know and I'll be available to assist you. As I said earlier on, if you haven't subscribed, that is the time, and make sure you give me thumbs up in case you learn something new or you like the approach. Let me know by giving me thumbs up. All right, guys, so thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, I'm going to catch you on the next video. Till then, stay tuned and take care.